What's up, guys? I've decided to record a session where I'm two-tabling 2 no limit 6 max on 888 poker. Yeah, let's just see how it goes. I haven't actually been running the best. I'm down about 4 buy-ins below EV, so hoping things turn around. Okay, so in the bottom table, it was just a limped pot, heads up, blind versus blind. I decided to take a stab with the flush draw on the flop. My hand doesn't improve, but I feel like he's got a lot of Jack X hands and draws in this spot when he check calls a flop. So I decide to fire again. I've got some equity to improve to the best hand. The queen is actually a good bluff card. If he does have a Jack X hand, he's really not locking his hand anymore. So I think that's a good spot to 3-barrel bluff, blind versus blind. I also knew I had been playing against this opponent for a while, and he seemed like a passive player, so I knew he could find the fold button. Also, I feel like in the previous hand, if he did have a king X, I mean, he could take that line with a king with a weak kicker, but I think more often than not, with on that draw heavy board, he would lead out betting on the flop. So that was even more reason to put him to the test with a 3-barrel bluff in that spot. My main game has primarily been 25 no limit 6 max, actually on a different site. So I'm quite unfamiliar with 2 no limit, but from the brief time I've played about 2,500 hands now. It seems a lot more passive. The game plays a lot more passively, somewhat similar to full ring games. So basically, your opponents are just speculating with a lot of hands and wanting to see a flop and trying to hit. So a lot of the time they're going to have weakish holdings, and I mean, you don't want to be bluffing all the time, but if you know a player is tired and capable of folding, you definitely want to find spots where you want to bluff. I really wanted to call in that hand, but because I mean, I'm sure he's probably doing it with. It's a really weird play to go all in when everyone limps just to steal the dead money. I mean, you wouldn't think he's doing that with aces, but more than likely he had an ace in his hand, and I'm not really wanting to gamble when I know that I'm better than the majority of players, or hopefully every player at 2 no limit. Generally, I've been playing with a HUD, and HUDs do work on 888 poker, but I feel like a 2 no limit. I mean, if you can't beat the limit without playing a HUD, it's not really saying much. And when you're only playing 2 tables, you can quite easily, observe all the players at both tables and get a feel for how they're playing. So, and I just, I don't mind sort of playing without a HUD, just to sort of keep sharp and get you thinking without having to sort of rely on HUD stats and so forth. You haven't got a lot of tricky players that are putting you in tough spots. You just basically got to, make strong hands and value bet 'em. And yeah, if you think you can get folds, by all means try and bluff. But it definitely you definitely don't want to be bluffing all the time, because generally the general type of play is going to be loose and passive. And if they've got some kind of hand, they're probably going to sort of wanting to look you up. As you can see in the top table, everyone's limping in. So yeah, it plays really similar to 4-ring games. 25 no limit plays is nothing like this. You've got generally if someone's coming into the pot, they enter the pot with a raise. So obviously when that happens, you know that their raising range is going to be much wider, because they're raising a lot more hands. Okay, in the top table I flop 2 pair. And the player who called seemed like a fishy player. He could be on some kind of draw, 10x hand or ace x hand. It's a pretty standard bet, and it turns out he actually had an ace in the hand, ace 3 there. And yeah, I bet it quite big on the river, because I knew he was a fish that would pay me off. Top table had Jack 10 there, and considering it's a very passive table, I probably you could consider just limping in with Jack 10, but because I feel like the problem is it's very easily dominated, and I'm out of position, so I'm really I'm really hoping to hit at least 2 pair, and I think it's just better folding in that spot. If it's not really good enough to raise with, even though more than likely I'm not going to have to worry about another player raising. It's just I'm out of position. It's not, it's a weakish hand. So. However, if I had position, and it's a much more attractive hand to play. as I was saying, I've been running pretty bad. I've been playing really well. Really patient. Not spewing chips left, right, and center. But there's just been tons of hands where I've got all in and the opponent sucks out on me. Or on the river, they've hit like 2 outer or 3 outer or 4 outer and so forth, and the river's just been shocking. So otherwise, my win rate would be absolutely crushing. We'll turn around. So, and it's 2 no limit, so it's not a huge amount of money. So. But I was actually just hoping to build up a bankroll from the $8 free bankroll that you get when you sign up. I'm still playing with that money, so it feels like free money, and I've been disciplined considering that fact, because when it's free money, you don't treat it with the same respect. And again, that player that went all in pre-flop, and this time he got caught out. So yeah, like in the other hand, I thought he had an ace in his hand, and in this hand he didn't show his hand, and he wasn't caught in that other hand. In this one, he quite likely did have an ace X hand, and you definitely want to take a note on that. He's just spewing chips, shoving a huge amount of money pre-flop with an ace rag. Again, so he's obviously on tilt, or just wanting to double up or something. The video is getting close to about 15 minutes shortly, so I'm going to wrap it up fairly soon. Has been a decent, it's been a decent mini session of, in this hand, on the top table I've flopped a boat. I'm hoping he's got something. Again, this passive player limps in from the small blind, which he's just been limping a lot of hands, but I knew he was very passive. Obviously I've got a great hand, blind vs blind, turn changes nothing, and not a great card. The flush doesn't worry me, but when he could be taking that line with 8x hands, if he's not believing me. There is a possibility for raising in that spot, but like I said, he seemed like a passive player, so I kind of gave his bet a bit more respect. Against other opponents, I'd be raising for value there, but as a turns out it was like somewhat of a blocking bet, where maybe he didn't want to sort of call a bigger bet on the river, so he just let out. But yeah, that wraps up the video. Thanks for watching.